Okay, so here's the problem. I just got stopped at passport control for traveling alone with my own teenage son.
What is going on? Did I do something wrong? Do they think I'm a criminal?
Why, you might need a notarized piece of paper like this one the next time you travel internationally with your child. You might even be denied entry into a foreign country if you don't have it.
The stern warning I got from a passport control officer in Europe who was not happy with me at all.
It is alarming, it's unnerving, and it's something every parent traveling alone with a child internationally needs to know about. And I'm going to explain it to you in this episode of Window Seat. Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Hubbard coming to you from Barcelona, Spain. That, of course, the very famous Sagrada Familia Church right behind me here. I traveled here alone with my teenage son, a little back-to-school trip before he starts high school. This time, though, I traveled with a notarized letter that gave me permission to bring him here from my spouse, who I'm still married to, by the way. It's not like we're divorced or anything. What's this all about? Well, I learned a lesson the hard way the last time I traveled internationally alone with my son, so this time I was prepared.
Have you ever even heard of a parental travel consent form for a child who's not traveling with both custodial parents? I sure hadn't.
Okay, so let me explain. A few months ago, my son Charlie and I planned a quick weekend getaway. We're going to try to knock off a couple of countries we'd never been to. So we were flying to Europe from Denver, and our layover was in Reykjavik, Iceland. Well, the minute we get there, we get to passport control. I hand my passport to the guy, and he starts giving me the stink eye and looking me up and down like I've done something wrong. I was really curious. I'm like, what is happening here? And then he said, do you have a parental permission travel letter? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of it. He said, you need permission from your spouse on paper, that's notarized, that says that you are okay to travel with this child to a foreign country. I said, what are you talking about? Apparently, this was all based on human trafficking. Obviously, it's something they keep an eye out for. They're trying to crack down on it. He thought that I might have been trafficking this teenage boy that I was traveling with, perhaps sending him into Europe and into harm's way without the permission of his actual parents. I somehow got out of the situation by explaining to him this was my child. He asked my son a couple of questions just to make sure I was his parent, and then sent us both on our way with the warning that we should travel with that letter the next time. I got to admit, for the first few minutes, I was really ticked. I was like, what is it about me that is sending the message to this guy that I am trafficking a teenage boy to Europe who's not my own son? What on earth set off those alarm bells? It seemed very personal. I was kind of ticked. But then I got to thinking about it, and this guy was just doing his job, and as a parent, I should be glad about that, and I should also be glad about the fact that they're keeping an eye out for these sorts of things internationally at passport control. And in fact, it happened again on this very trip. As we were traveling from Denver to Europe, the TSA agent stopped us, asked me a couple of questions, then asked my son a couple of questions without me interfering, just to make sure that we were supposed to be traveling together. Because again, they are keeping a very close eye out for human trafficking, and this is a good thing. So be prepared if you're traveling.
I wondered how big an issue human trafficking really is right now, especially involving teenagers, so I looked into it, and the numbers really are staggering. It's on the rise. And according to the United Nations, 38% of all humans who are trafficked are kids. Children often exploited and forced into labor or far worse. In fact, there's been a 25% increase in cases over the last 5 years. So it makes sense that people are starting to pay more attention to this.
Okay, so let's talk about these letters. What exactly should they say? What information should they have on them? How do you know what to write? I gotta be honest, I went straight to ChatGPT and it wrote the letter for me in about 3 seconds.
You can see what I wrote here. I put in, write a parental consent travel letter for a child traveling with just one custodial parent, pardon the misspelling there, overseas. Again, it just spelled out the letter in a matter of seconds, calling it a clear parental consent form for international travel with one parent. They say it's a widely accepted format by airlines, border officials, immigration authorities. They say print it, sign it in front of a notary, and you should be good to go. So here's what it contains. Basically, a few paragraphs explaining the situation, who you are, who the other parent is, where you're from, where the child was born and when, all that sort of thing. And then you give full consent to your spouse to travel with this child overseas. Now, further down in the letter, you should specify where the travel is going to take place, when it's taking place, the reason the travel's happening, whether it's vacation, family visit, that sort of thing. And then it goes into confirming that the parent traveling with the child has permission to make all the decisions regarding medical treatment and general welfare for the child while they're traveling. You should also very clearly include the information of the parent who's staying home: full name, date of birth, address, phone, email. And then, of course, the parent traveling with the child. Full name, date of birth, passport number. The child's information, too. Same. Full name, date of birth, passport number. And also include a copy of the passport or driver's license of the parent who's staying home, so they just have further evidence that this is all on the up and up. Now, the next part is where the parent who's staying home goes with you to the notary public and gets it signed in front of the notary, so everything's official and, again, on the up and up.
I had my wife go with me to the UPS store where a notary works. She signed it in front of the notary. We got it notarized. I carried the letter with me to Europe, and we were all set. Truth of the matter is, this time around, I didn't need the letter, and odds are you won't need it either. There's a pretty good chance they're not going to ask you anything, but you got to be prepared for it. And you got to know that they're looking out for this sort of thing internationally and at home, and that is a good thing.
Just how often are adults traveling with children confronted with stares and stink eyes from passport control officers? It happens more often than you might think. Just this summer, a United Airlines passenger claims he was profiled on a flight from Costa Rica to Denver, accused of trafficking the 2 young girls he was traveling with who were under his legal guardianship. He says the airline staff accused him of sex trafficking them without a single question or checking their long travel history together. And upon arrival in Denver, he says they were met by police, customs, and border patrol agents and airline staff and subjected to questioning in public view, an experience he called humiliating, traumatic, and unjust. And just a note here, this sort of thing is especially likely to happen to you if your child has a different last name. If so, expect questions from border and customs officials to make sure you have the legal authority to travel with your child. Best advice, stay calm and cooperative, answer all the questions truthfully, and provide any requested documents. In some cases, they even recommend having copies of birth certificates, adoption certificates, or legal guardianship documents with you. And most of all, have that consent form notarized and signed by the non-traveling parent. There's a good chance it will save you a lot of headaches.
It is a crackdown on human trafficking. You can't take it personally. You got to know that they're just looking out for the well-being of beautiful children like this one right here, and I'm very happy about that. We made it to Europe in one piece. He's supposed to be with me. I'm glad he is, and we were ready this time with that notarized letter. So there you have it. What do you think about this sort of crackdown on human trafficking? Is this the sort of thing you're glad about? Have you had an experience like this too? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to know what your experience was so that we can inform our viewers so everybody's more well-informed when you go to travel the next time. We want everybody to get to their destination safely and in one piece and with the proper information so that they're ready when they get to passport control and they start to get the stink eye from that guy who is a little suspicious of you, even though you don't look suspicious. I mean, I don't think I look suspicious at all. There you have it. That's it for this episode of Window Seat. If you don't mind, hit like and share so we can continue the conversation about travel as we get to every country all around the planet. Been to 81 countries now with 100 plus still to go. There's a big journey still ahead of us. And we'd also love it if you hit subscribe too so you can follow the journey along the way. And you should know we're back with a brand new episode of Window Seat next Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, we'll say goodbye from right here in Barcelona, Spain. Be sure to check out one of these other episodes from Window Seat.